the Iraqi dinar, revaluation speculation, and the role of the US Treasury introduction. Why the dinar debate matters. For more than a decade, the Iraqi dinar has been one of the most discussed yet misunderstood currencies in the world. Investors, financial commentators, and countless online communities have debated whether Iraq's currency could one day undergo a dramatic revaluation, often referred to simply as an RV. On September 29, 2025, this ongoing debate was reignited by reports suggesting that the US Treasury Department may have issued a statement tied to a potential revaluation timeline. Such rumors are not new. Over the years, many unverified claims have spread about hidden memos, inside knowledge, or secret government confirmations. But this latest report is generating stronger attention because it allegedly involves one of the most powerful financial institutions in the world, the US Treasury itself. If true, the implications would extend far beyond speculation forums and into the global economic system. At the same time, history shows that the dinar community has often been misled by false promises of an imminent RV. That's why this moment calls for careful analysis, fact-checking, and a sober understanding of what such an announcement, if real, would actually mean. To appreciate the importance of today's debate, we need to look at Iraq's monetary journey, the role of international oversight, and the fine line between speculation and reality. The Iraqi dinar. A currency with a complex history, the Iraqi dinar, Iqd, has never been just another currency. Its value and perception have been deeply tied to Iraq's political instability, wars, and recovery efforts. Before 2003, the dinar was heavily manipulated under Saddam Hussein's regime, cut off from much of the international financial system, and often devalued through inflation and sanctions. Post-2003 reconstruction. Following the US-led invasion, Iraq's financial system underwent a rebuilding process. The Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, was tasked with stabilizing the currency, controlling inflation, and re-establishing Iraq's place in global markets. Persistent challenges. Despite progress, the dinar's value has remained relatively low compared to global benchmarks like the US dollar. Issues such as corruption, dependence on oil, and a large informal cash economy have slowed reforms. Because of this unique history, speculation has flourished. Many believe that Iraq's rich oil reserves and strategic location could one day justify a significantly stronger currency. Others argue that without structural reforms, expectations of a dramatic RV are unrealistic. Why the US Treasury's role matters in global finance. Few institutions carry as much weight as the US Treasury Department. While the Central Bank of Iraq has full authority over its currency, the Treasury's statements influence markets worldwide. If Washington were to acknowledge or confirm any form of revaluation timeline, it would signal international alignment on Iraq's financial direction. But here's the problem: no previous confirmations. Despite years of rumors, the Treasury has never officially confirmed a dinar RV date. Global implications. Any U.S. involvement would raise questions about geopolitical strategy, economic interests, and Iraq's relationship with international partners, such as the IMF and World Bank. Investor sentiment. Even a vague statement could dramatically affect global perceptions of Iraq's financial trajectory. This is why the latest claims of a Treasury announcement are being scrutinized so heavily. For some, it feels like the long-awaited turning point. For others, it's yet another example of how speculation can outpace fact. Iraq's reform journey. Laying the groundwork. Whether or not an RV date has been set, it's undeniable that Iraq has made meaningful progress toward modernizing its economy. 1. Financial infrastructure. Iraq has introduced electronic payment systems to reduce reliance on cash. Digital banking tools are expanding, bringing Iraq closer to international norms. 2. Regulatory improvements. The CBI has tightened compliance with global anti-money laundering standards. Efforts have been made to close gaps exploited by parallel markets. 3. Foreign reserves and stability. Iraq's foreign reserves have been steadily growing, creating more confidence in its ability to support the dinar. Inflation has been largely kept in check compared to earlier decades. 4. Government commitment. Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has placed economic reform at the core of his agenda. His administration emphasizes diversifying revenue beyond oil and boosting private sector participation. These reforms may not grab headlines in the same way as rumors of a sudden revaluation, but they matter far more in the long term. They show that Iraq is gradually creating the conditions under which its currency could strengthen, sustainably, not artificially. The community of speculation. Voices and caution. The dinar community is vast, stretching across forums, YouTube channels, and social media groups. Over the years, commentators such as Frank26, Sandy Ingram, and Mark Z have kept their audiences updated with both facts and theories. While many have tried to ground discussions in structural progress, misinformation often spreads faster than cautious analysis. Frank26 emphasizes the CBI's direct statements, highlighting Iraq's confidence in strengthening the dinar. Sandy Ingram regularly warns against taking rumors at face value, reminding her audience that reforms matter more than dates. Mark Z points to Iraq's new exchange policies as proof of modernization and international integration. Yet the challenge remains. Every time a supposed RV date surfaces, excitement surges, only to crash when no confirmation follows. This cycle of anticipation and disappointment has defined the dinar conversation for more than a decade. Global recognition of Iraq's progress, while speculation dominates community discussions, international institutions are quietly acknowledging Iraq's progress. World Bank and IMF. Both have supported Iraq's modernization agenda and offered technical guidance on reform. United Kingdom and EU publicly praised Iraq's efforts to improve the business environment and strengthen financial oversight. Regional partners. Neighboring countries have taken note of Iraq's growing financial discipline, which improves trade and investment opportunities. Such recognition is a reminder that Iraq's reforms are not only noticed but respected. It suggests that the dinar's future strength will come from credibility built step by step, not from sudden announcements. The problem of rumors and misinformation. No discussion about the dinar is complete without acknowledging the sheer volume of rumors that flood the conversation. From false claims about US sanctions to imaginary memos predicting overnight wealth, misinformation has often destabilized expectations. A recent example was the rumor that Iraqi banks faced new US sanctions, which briefly spooked the market before being swiftly denied by the CBI. The quick response reassured investors and showed that Iraq is becoming more capable of managing narratives responsibly. This is critical because credibility is currency. Without it, speculation can harm both Iraq's domestic economy and its international reputation. Is this really a turning point? So, does the latest US Treasury report mark a historic moment? The answer depends on perspective. Optimists see it as the long-awaited confirmation that Iraq's currency will finally reflect the nation's true potential. Skeptics warn that without hard evidence, this is just another rumor dressed in official language. Realists argue that the true story isn't about dates or announcements, but about Iraq's reforms, which are steadily laying the foundation for a stronger currency. As of September 29, 2025, the debate over a confirmed RV date is alive once again. But beneath the excitement lies a more meaningful truth. Iraq is no longer the fragile, unstable state it was 10 or 15 years ago. Its financial system is more transparent, its government is more committed to reform, and its economy is more resilient. If the US Treasury has indeed made a statement, it must be viewed within this broader context. The RV, if it ever happens, will not be the product of a single announcement, but the outcome of years of discipline, policy, and institution building. For the dinar community, the message remains clear. Patience, perspective, and verification are essential. Iraq's journey is far from finished, but its progress is undeniable. Whether or not this moment proves to be the turning point, it represents another step in Iraq's long path toward economic renewal and international recognition. Iraq's economic transformation, global dynamics, and the future of the dinar. While Section 1 focused on the September 29, 2025, reports linking the US Treasury to a potential Iraqi dinar revaluation, it is essential to step back and look at the broader forces shaping Iraq's monetary future. Iraq is not just wrestling with domestic reforms, but also navigating complex global dynamics, oil dependency, investor psychology, and the risks of speculative frenzy. The story of the dinar cannot be told in isolation. It is intertwined with international institutions, energy markets, regional politics, and global economic cycles. For Iraq to achieve a truly stable and internationally respected currency, it must succeed not only in its domestic reform agenda, but also in strengthening its credibility on the world stage. Oil. The backbone and the weakness of Iraq's economy, no discussion of Iraq's financial system is complete without acknowledging the dominant role of oil. Contribution to GDP. Oil exports account for roughly 90% of Iraq's government revenue. Price volatility. Fluctuations in global oil prices directly affect Iraq's budget stability and currency confidence. Resource dependence. Heavy reliance on oil has hindered the growth of other sectors such as agriculture, industry, and technology. This dependence makes Iraq highly vulnerable. When oil prices are high, Iraq enjoys budget surpluses, stronger reserves, and more room to maneuver. When prices fall, deficits grow, reforms slow, and the pressure on the dinar intensifies. For a sustainable revaluation, or even just currency strengthening, Iraq must reduce this dependency. That's why diversification is central to Prime Minister Soudani's reform agenda. Diversification. Building beyond oil, several initiatives have been launched to reshape Iraq's economic landscape. 1. Agricultural modernization. Investments are being made in irrigation systems, seed technology, and farming infrastructure to reduce food import dependence. 2. Tourism development. With Iraq's rich cultural and religious heritage, the government hopes to attract millions of visitors annually. Improved security has made this increasingly feasible. 3. Technology and banking. Expansion of digital payment systems and fintech solutions is meant to draw younger generations into formal banking channels. 4. Private sector engagement. Incentives are being created for foreign investors to set up operations in Iraq, particularly in energy-related industries and infrastructure. Each of these steps builds resilience. A diversified economy will not only stabilize the dinar, but also make it less vulnerable to sudden shocks in global commodity markets. International institutions. A web of oversight and support the IMF and World Bank, both the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank have been key players in Iraq's reform journey. Their assistance includes technical advice on restructuring the banking system, monitoring compliance with international accounting and transparency standards, providing loans and financial assistance tied to progress benchmarks. Regional Partnerships Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC. Iraq has deepened trade and investment ties with Gulf nations, particularly Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Iran and Turkey. Both neighbors remain critical trade partners, though political tensions often complicate these relationships. Western allies, the United States, United Kingdom, and European Union, have consistently highlighted Iraq's importance in regional stability. Their recognition of Iraq's reforms, especially financial oversight improvements, is a signal to global investors. Investor sentiment. Between hope and skepticism, the Iraqi dinar has one of the most passionate investor communities in the world. Yet this passion is often fueled by speculation rather than sober financial analysis. Hopeful investors. Many believe that Iraq's oil wealth, strategic position, and reforms make a dramatic RV inevitable. Cautious analysts. Economists warn that currencies rarely experience sudden overnight revaluations. Sustainable strength takes years of consistent policy. Frustrated followers. After more than a decade of rumors, some long-time investors have become disillusioned, questioning whether an RV will ever happen. The psychology of the dinar market is fascinating. Small rumors can trigger massive waves of optimism or panic. This is why official communication, from the CBI, the US Treasury, or the IMF, is so important. Clarity helps balance speculation with reality. Risks of overspeculation. Excessive speculation carries real risks. 1. Market instability. Rumors can trigger sudden spikes in currency trading, creating artificial volatility. 2. Public confusion. Iraqi citizens often hear the same rumors circulating abroad, which can erode trust in the CBI. 3. Scams and exploitation. Over the years, fraudulent schemes have preyed on dinar investors by promising insider access to revaluation windfalls. 4. Policy pressure. False narratives can create unrealistic expectations, putting pressure on policymakers to act prematurely. This is why commentators such as Sandy Ingram stress the importance of verifying information. Responsible discussion can protect both investors and Iraq's financial credibility. The Central Bank of Iraq. At the core of stability, the CBI's efforts over the past decade form the backbone of Iraq's monetary progress. Modernized systems, introduction of real-time payment networks and banking software compatible with international standards, regulatory clarity, stronger oversight of commercial banks, particularly around anti-money laundering, AML compliance, exchange rate stability. While the dinar remains pegged to the US dollar, the CBI has successfully limited extreme volatility. Public communication. Officials have publicly reassured Iraqis that the dinar's value will be protected and gradually strengthened. These achievements are not dramatic headlines, but are critical building blocks for any future appreciation of the dinar. Global geopolitics. Iraq between powers. Iraq's financial future is also shaped by its geopolitical position. United States. Washington remains a key ally both militarily and financially. Any Treasury involvement in currency matters would highlight this relationship. Iran. Despite tensions, Iraq relies heavily on trade with Iran, especially in energy and consumer goods. China. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, China is increasing its presence in Iraq, particularly in infrastructure projects. Gulf states. Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar see Iraq as both a strategic partner and a potential competitor in oil markets. Balancing these relationships is tricky but essential. Iraq's credibility as a stable financial actor depends on maintaining constructive ties with all these players. The myth of the overnight millionaire. One of the most persistent ideas in the dinar community is that a sudden RV would instantly create millions of new millionaires. This notion, while appealing, oversimplifies reality. Practical challenges. A sudden, dramatic increase in the dinar's value would destabilize Iraq's domestic economy. Prices, wages, and contracts would face massive dislocations. International pushback. The IMF and other global bodies are unlikely to support a shock revaluation, as it would ripple through international markets. Gradual path. More realistically, the dinar could strengthen gradually over time as reforms take hold, oil dependency decreases, and investor confidence grows. This doesn't mean appreciation is impossible. It means that realistic expectations, slow, steady, and credible, are far more likely than a sudden overnight shift. Recognition from the world. Why it matters. Over the past few years, Iraq has earned increasing recognition for its reform progress. This external validation matters because it signals to global investors that Iraq is serious about credibility. It encourages international banks to expand relationships with Iraqi institutions. It reassures citizens that their leaders are building a future-oriented economy. Examples include the UK's praise for Iraq's banking reforms and the IMF's positive assessments of fiscal discipline. These acknowledgments help Iraq step out of the shadow of its turbulent past. The road ahead. What must be done for Iraq to transform speculation into reality? Several key steps remain. 1. Continued diversification. Reduce dependence on oil revenues. 2. Strengthen transparency. Expand anti-corruption measures and financial disclosure. 3. Deepen international integration. Build stronger ties with SWIFT, international payment systems, and cross-border financial institutions. 4. Educate citizens. Ensure Iraqis understand the reforms and trust their domestic financial system. 5. Avoid premature announcements. Focus on gradual progress rather than fueling speculation with vague promises. If these steps are followed, Iraq can lay the foundation for a strong and credible currency, whether or not a dramatic RV ever occurs. Conclusion. Patience and perspective. Revisited. The September 2025 buzz about a US Treasury announcement has reignited global debate, but the larger truth is this. Iraq's monetary transformation is not about a single date or sudden decision. It is about years of reform, credibility, and integration into the global economy. Iraq has come a long way since the instability of the early 2000s. Its government is more focused on economic renewal, its central bank is more disciplined, and its international reputation is improving. These are the real forces that will shape the dinar's value over time. For the dinar community, the lesson remains the same. Focus less on rumors and more on reforms. Iraq is moving forward, step by step. Whether or not today's reports prove true, the country is building the foundation for long-term financial strength. And that, more than speculation, is the true story worth watching. Disclaimer: all content provided by Iqd Global Intel is for educational and informational purposes only. We are not financial advisors and do not provide investment, trading, or banking advice. Viewers should always conduct their own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor before making any financial decisions.